Alright guys, you got your boy Stingren here today, and today we're back with the tier list update for patch 2.0. We're gonna be updating this patch. I apologize for being a little bit late on the updates. I know I said I will be getting, I usually try to get these out before the patch starts, but I was not able to do so because of work, and I've been really swarmed up with work as of late. But of course, I did want to take some time to record this tier list, get it out for you guys, and hopefully we can get content back rolling smoothly again now that my work has calmed down for the time being. And anyway, let's get right into it. Let's talk about what we have currently before we talk about our new units, of course, being Mercuria, J, and Pioneer. So for S plus tier units, we have two fairy, we have Isolde, Vila, Windsong, Lucy, and Kakania. Those are our best units in the game. Typically when I put a unit up here, I've seen some people comment, why do I put them here? It's usually I just say either the units that you really just can't live without, honestly. Because they have so much comfortability in teams and are either the best of their preferred role. Like right now, Windsong and Lucy are their best respective DPSs for both single target and AoE respectively. Lucy being reality, Lucy being reality, and Windsong being mental, which is even more kind of a cool thing. So best reality DPS, best mental DPS. Vila is comfortably the best supportive healer alongside Two Fairy. They both kind of go neck and neck with each other. Isolde is a really great buffer slash debuffer, and then Kakani is the best sustain in the game. So that's that. Of course, for our S tiers, we have Ju, Six, Marcus, Necrologist, Yensei, Anali, Millennia, Spahothea, Ezra, Jutien, and Lorelei. So those are our S plus tier units. For A units, we have Semmelweis, we have Sonato, Jessica, Kanabana, 37, Bicorn, Charlie, Medicine Pocket, A Knight, Pickles, Juvis III, and August. And for B, C tiers, those are our other units. We have Bloom Party, Click, Tanat, Sasuke, Desert Flannel, Regulus, Centurion, Shemaine, and Voyager. And then for C, we have our C tier units here, and those are usually just the lowest of the tier list. But anyway, before we get started, as always, we're going to look at some units we're either going to move up or move down. And then the first unit I want to move down is going to be Jutien. Now, the big reason why I'm moving Jutien is kind of because it's kind of hard to slot Jutien in teams now. Like, the big problem I feel like with him is, well, yes, he is specifically meant for reality. He does, his field does work for everyone. It's 20% damage boost, but it's 40% if you're a reality unit. But if you're not really running a reality team, Jutien's usage kind of just plummets off a hill. So that's a thing there. In terms of array fields, Semmel's field is technically a little bit stronger because of how much you can abuse with it. But with Jutien, the biggest problem I feel with him is that he's really one-dimensional. Like, the 50% reality shred that can stack on top of others was always a pretty cool trick. For example, if I'm running Jutien and Isolde in the same team, I could potentially have 35% reality shred, which is pretty nice for, of course, if I'm running them with Lucy, right? But the thing is that even with 35% reality shred, supports are becoming so strong now to the point to where his 15% contribution plus his 40% damage boost from ultimate with his field is not being valued enough comparably to the newer supports that we're getting in the game. A lot of these new supports and these new sustains and these new good support units like Vila, like Kakania, like these units really revolutionize the role that they're given, right? So it makes it really hard for someone like Jutien to really flourish in a team. With reality shred, you pretty much always go Isolde because it's 20% effectively, because all targets should be always burning because of her inheritance, and then you have the potential ability to give power burst every single turn, one turn finale, which is 25% damage bonus on an action, and then you have rousing morale on ultimate with also occasional damage from her follow-up. You know what I mean? Like, that's too much to offer as opposed to a unit who only just does reality shred, some occasional follow damage, which isn't all that strong, and a 40% boost on field. Like, it's too many bonuses that one would offer as opposed to the other. And I feel like that's my biggest concern with Jutien, is that I feel like he needs more, because these newer supports are providing so many valid bonuses to be in a team. We take a look at Vila. Not only is she great healer, she can buff both crit rate, both crit damage. Of course, if you're mental, you get higher amounts. And she also can buff your incantation might based off of a specific tier level. You have 50, 100, or 200%, which is insanely strong because that's going to get you so much more damage. And then with critical damage being one of the best things to really invest into right now because of the supports that we get, Dutian's use in that regard really does kind of plummet. And it also doesn't hurt, well, it also does hurt, my bad, that the two best units in the game just happen to be crit focused. Windsong is incredibly crit focused, and Lucy is also incredibly crit focused. So, like, I know you're not always going to be running Windsong Lucy for every single team that you make. Some teams do just prefer general, reality support, which is just fine. But still, like, when we're looking at the best of the best, it's undenying the fact that crit is undeniably one of the best subsets you can invest into, which is of course kind of been the meta for the past, I want to say maybe 4, maybe 5 patches. I say maybe 4, maybe 5 patches, but yeah. And to even make things worse, I do think even supports before him were doing a lot more than what he could do. Of course, 6 being one of the biggest examples, being able to give you 6 different buffs and 6 different debuffs, an ability to wipe away buffs, and also empower incantation. Like, come on, dude. Like, there's just so many things that newer supports are doing, and he just isn't doing a lot. Pickles, I'm going to move down to B. The biggest problem with Pickles, I feel, and the warrant for dropping him is that the spell does not come up as much as it used to. Remember, there used to be a point in time, right, where the spell was really good. Like, I used to super value the spell because, of course, there'd be a lot of bosses or a lot of enemies in the game where they buff annoying stats, or they do like taunt or something like that, or they have like annoying buffs that they can provide. And of course, you can run this spell to get rid of them. Not only do we really not care about that anymore, there's just not that much content in the game that pops up that says, hey, I'm gonna need a dispeller for this fight. Like, there's still fights out there like Marsh, for example, is a prime example of a fight that you can use to spell, but it itself has gimmicks where you can actively dispel the boss, so it doesn't necessarily need it, but it's there if you want it. But above all, it's just not really too many good options that you really directly need with Marsh, with Marsh specifically. So it's just, yeah. But Pickles, also his supportive capability wasn't all that great anymore. 30% damage dealt was all he provides. He was already kind of being outclassed by a 5-star who released earlier than him. She's an initial 5-star. Necro can give 50%, and even if we were to take portraits into account, he only gives a max of 40, right? At P, I believe it's P2, I believe. P2, he gives 40% damage dealt on his ult. Necro gives at P5 gives 50%. Still a really, really big boost, and still really, really strong in today's metagame. So yeah, and even other units who also offer damage dealt up can do it a little bit more consistently and a little bit more actively than Pickles can. He can still get there pretty quickly because he has AP gain, which is pretty good. But other than that, it's not really the best. I mean, Mox gain, not AP gain, but yeah, not really the best. But in terms of other units I would like to drop, let me see if there's anyone that can stand out who I would feel comfortable in dropping. No, honestly, I don't think there's no one else I don't really see that really needs to be moved up or down. We can start talking about the new characters now. So for Mercury, I'm gonna put her in good. Mercury is pretty good. She's a really good support. The problem is that Merc really needs P1 to kind of be more support open. If she kind of didn't have the restriction of having a unit that would really want to do rank ups like Anali, like 6, or like Marcus, for example, which is primarily her main team because it makes the best use for her inheritances, I'd probably put her up here. I'd probably put her in S tier. Because at that point she becomes way more free to be ran with everyone, because when she has that ult active, it becomes 3 to 2-star cast. And remember, with her ult, she automatically gives you quote unquote 2-star cast cards, so that means as a +1 moxie right there, that's already going to be battering her up for more moxie. and she can really self-battery herself to her ult pretty quickly due to her condition, pretty much the same as Marcus's condition, where you want specific type allies in your team, which is really nice. But at P0, I think she is a comfortable unit. She's still really good though. She does offer crit rate, crit damage, and incantation might bonus as a effective bonus. She also provides damage dealt up. She also provides the same amount as Necro, being 50% at max. If you go higher on her, she actually provides some of the most ridiculous boosts in the game. If you were talking about Merc at P5, she would undoubtedly be up here. She would undoubtedly be S plus tier if she was P5. But of course, when we look at these tier lists, we're only looking at units at P0. But P5 Merc is crazy strong for a support. She does a lot for the team. She brings tremendous amount of damage potential. So I mean, that's really just, it is what it is. So, but P0 Merc, pretty good, but could use some work, I would say. And yeah, alright, we have Jay. Jay, I'm also going to put in the good tier. Jay is pretty much one of the more comfortable sustains you can get away with. He's a very fun sustain and likes to be at low HP to maximize his counter damage. And of course, he can counter multiple amount of times, which is really fun. He doesn't deal the greatest form of damage, all things considered, even with proper support. He deals okay damage, more like sub DPS tier, but it's always, since it's effectively during it's during like counters and like because of him riposting, it's not really that effectively a big of an issue. Like if it was his main damage potential, then I would see maybe might be a little bit of an issue. But it's riposte. It's free extra damage because the enemy is attacking your team. He counters every single time somebody gets hit. It's not specifically him, which is really cool, because that means it's just free damage because his counters are AoE, which is again really cool. So he does have a lot of ample ways to get further damage boosted. He does have a really good specific team for his type of playstyle that can maximize his own damage potential and his overall counter riposte effectiveness, which is also pretty cool. But other than that, there's not really too much I can really say negatively about Jay. Same thing with Merc, outside of just her initial clunkiness. I think it's just he is just a overall good sustain unit. You know, he's a good sustain. He provides shield for everyone. He can put up burn, which also works really nice with Spahothiya teams if you wanted a sustain for that. But there's just not really too much negative I can really say about Jay either. I mean, Jay is a fine unit. Nothing really crazy, nothing really negative. It's just he's just a good sustain, I feel. But Pioneer is going to be niche, could work. Pioneer is a cool unit. The whole him switching positions with other units is pretty interesting. It's an interesting gimmick. I just don't know what that would be effective for. Like if they ever made a fight in Reverse 1999, I mean technically the event fight in 2.0, but that's obviously is going to cater to the newer characters. But if they ever made a specific raid, right, where they would target a strong unit with like your third slot unit with a strong attack, then maybe Pioneer can maybe see some use in that because he can actively switch positions around or something, and that could maybe work, you know, as a potential pivot. You know, he can act as a potential pivot, take the attack for that strong unit, and then, you know, go from there. You know, I could see like maybe like Necro in the team too to have prayers so he doesn't just immediately get one shot, because remember he's a 4-star, so 4-star stats means they are likely to die quicker. But other than that, unless there's some specific thing that really revolves around his gimmick outside of, you know, his own inheritances and everything, like just general and content purpose, then maybe I might shoot him up a little bit higher for the respect of his gimmick, or if it being placed in like a high difficulty like content thing. But in just overall unit, that I mean, he doesn't really bring much to the table outside of just a cool gimmick. I kind of wish they kind of went a little bit more, a little bit higher tier on him. Like if they made him like a free like 5-star, I would have been a little bit happy with that, because if he was a free 5-star, I think he could have fit in some of the in-game contents. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for the tier list. A little bit of a shorter video update this time because there wasn't really too much going on. This is a pretty sleeper patch for some people. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, I do think Mercury and Jay are fine units to pull on. If you haven't watched my Mercuria best team video or the showcase for Mercuria, please check those out. and I'll see you next time. Peace.